See Bob Ritchie taking a look at the inbound. Hoping his team continue a good defensive run. They allowed just over 66 points again. Storm Murphy, kind of the unheralded scorer on this team. Second with just over 12 points a game, and that evens us up.
Boy, what a nifty move. Used the rim right there to protect himself from getting a shot blocked.
These teams, as good of a collection of guards as any schools have in this conference. Just into the game, one of the Furman freshmen who's been seeing extended minutes. Colin Kenny had the ball moments ago. On the left wing, shot clock at 10. Kick into the corner. And a three goes down for the first time this afternoon for the Paladins, and Gurley gets in the scoring column and pulls his team back within a point.
Well, like last year, I thought Clay Mounts was arguably the most improved player in the Southern Conference. This year, I think Noah Gurley can make that case.
Murphy, quick step. Hollowell thought about the pass, instead fires. Bigelow battling for the rebound. Terriers keep it. Boy, each team struggling from afar. Wofford just 1 out of 6 so far. Murphy, though, will change that. Storm Murphy had 8 points and 6 assists in the first meeting. He's on a much better pace so far today.
Nice job by Bigelow keeping that long rebound alive.
Furman's campus used to be located in downtown Greenville. From 1902 to the late 90s, they played in downtown Greenville, and from 58 until 96, their home games were in the venerable Greenville Auditorium. It no longer stands. It's just a block away from this building, but it's a place where the Paladins in that facility won 336 games, and it's a arena that holds a special place in the heart of one Dean Keener, doesn't it?
Well, maybe. I can't tell you what our record was. I can tell you during my junior year in January of 1987, scored a career high against Coach Butch Estes' team, had 14. But they had some really good teams, at least during my tenure at Davidson. Sean Reed, David Brown, Joey Brooks, John Castile, just to name a few of the 1,000-point scorers during that late 80s run.
And then right after that, the Bruce and Howell era, as it's known, as they won the 1991 SoCon regular season title. One of the late highlights. Now, folks will remember a great point in Furman history, maybe the greatest moment, on February 13th, 1954, when Frank Selvey scored 100 points in a game for the Paladins against Newberry, but that happened in the old Textile Hall. That was 4 years before they moved into the old Greenville Auditorium. But here they are playing in the well, a third home game for the Paladins this season, and trying to get even with the Wofford Terriers, who got them back in January. Shot clock down to 2. Hollowell hung up. Bigelow will try to beat the buzzer, and he does. It's been that kind of start for the Terriers, and they build their biggest lead so far. Nothing doing for Stump. Terriers continue to be below their average beyond the arc. They're 3 out of 10 so far. Furman on three-pointers, just 1 out of 6. They've tried to attack the basket on recent trips, trying to get as close as they've been in a while. Wofford opened up an early 7-point advantage.
Furman really trying to put their guards in some pick-and-roll situations to help Gurley roll to the basket.
Paladins looking to continue to battle back from that 7-point deficit. In their first meeting in January, Wofford ran out to a 16-2 lead and won the game by 14 points, so that told the story there. Gurley, a little bit of a roll, a slight rattle, and a tray for the big fella. It's a 1-point game. Hunter. And Pugh into the game for the first time today. Down inside to beat the shot clock. And a nice shovel right there by Slauson.
Great spacing by Jalen Pugh and other Furman Paladins. They stayed outside the 3. That way Wofford couldn't double down on Slauson.
Murphy, the hesitation. Hoover. Would have been a big answer. Goodwin back in the game on the offensive glass. He's not been heard from yet, and that time he hears from Gurley with a block. 17th block this year by the Paladins forward Noah Gurley. Furman looking to add to its second lead of the game, and another foul is called. 2 lead changes so far as Furman's back in front 15-14 here at the Well in downtown Greenville. So they've got the beautiful basketball set up for our game today. It's a busy weekend in this facility. It's the home of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits of the ECHL. They played a game against Worcester last night. Didn't work out well for the home team. They ended up falling 4-2. So right after the game, the staff here getting busy. A quick late night turnaround from the hockey configuration. They cover up the ice get the basketball court put together. Voila, within a couple of hours. Should have put them on a clock just a little bit longer than a pit change in pit stop in NASCAR. Well, they got us converted over for hoops right after this game. They've got to get ready for an evening hockey game, so they will do that in reverse. But this facility now coming up on its 22nd birthday. It opened on Labor Day weekend of 1998 and has been a scene of some great moments over the years in a lot of sports. They've had a couple of NCAA men's first and second rounds in here and some fantastic ball games. In 2017, the South Carolina Gamecocks began their run to the Final Four in this building. One of the compelling wins that year was a victory over Coach K and Duke. It's the home of the women's regional here, late March. In all likelihood, barring a miracle, see South Carolina's #1 women's team here. And they've got the SEC tournament coming up in a couple of weekends. Next weekend, with 3 on the shot clock, they've got the high school upper state finals in this building on Friday and Saturday. Hunter, the rebound. Once again, a deep possession for Wofford. Donovan Thiem Love, the kick for Hoover. And a big answer for the senior out of Memphis, and Nathan Hoover knocking down his second tray of the game. Been a tough first half from beyond the arc for Furman. 3 of 11 on three-point tries. Shot clock under 10. Mounts at 6'7", but athletic, and he goes all the way to the bucket with it.
Nice job by Furman to find that, I don't want to call it a mismatch, but that matchup where Mounts had Hoover.
He's playing about 20 pounds heavier this year, and that's the kind of play maybe he wasn't making last year.
Yeah, he was able to take the contact and finish.
5-point game. And Stump. Oh, what a save for Jones! Wow! That's got top 10 material written all over it. Trevor Stump, a late bucket for the Terriers. Shot clock off, final seconds as Wofford builds a lead to 7. Hunter tries to cut into it, and that's how we arrive at halftime. Trevor Stump, known for his scrappiness. Here is Exhibit A in that.
That is exactly right, and those are the 50-50 kind of rebounds.
Wofford a 7-point lead. Halftime winding down with Dean Keener, Pete Hannity with you back here in the Well in downtown Greenville. Good game in the opening half. A defensive battle. The Wofford Terriers, though, taking it right at Furman for the most part, leading for most of our first 20 minutes.
Well, playing like a team that's lost 4 in a row and doesn't want to play on Friday night in Asheville. But you know what? Give Furman credit, too. I thought their defense, for the most part, was good. Wofford hit some tough shots in the last couple minutes. We see some highlights. I mean, Wofford, again, in the second part of that first half, knocked down some tough shots. Their offense was just better than the Furman defense.
And Trevor Stump with one of the great saves he'll have in his career. As for Furman, kind of a slow go, but a big opening half for both Bothwell and Gurley.
Yeah, and Gurley in particular, I mean, he was the key. 13 points, 5 rebounds, did a little bit of everything. Then Slauson had some defensive plays. I expect the same kind of intensity in the second half.
First half numbers, Terriers have been the better shooting team, both on field goals and beyond the arc. Furman just 25%, but that was a trend in the first game when the Terriers held the Paladins just 25% on threes.
Yes, and the key stat I'm looking at right there, rebounds +5 to Wofford. That was a key coming into the game.
Wofford this season 12-3 when leading at the break. Furman is 3-5 when trailing. Largest lead of the game for the Terriers. Mount strong drive inside. I think Goodwin got a hand on it. Bob Ritchie, you see him in the background. He wanted the foul call. A lob ahead. Murphy finds his junior big man. Count it, and he'll head back to the line.
Well, Bob Ritchie wanted contact at the one end. Wofford just went to the next play. Watch it here again. Murphy pitches it ahead to the sprinting Goodwin. Catch, finish, chance at an old-fashioned three-point play.
A dozen points for Hoover, 10 for Murphy. They lead the Wofford team so far. Gurley, top scorer in the game, and a throwdown. He's got 15. Shot clock at 10.
Nice job by Bothwell recognizing the Paladin need a little organization offensively.
Shot clock winding down, and Bothwell, 39% second on the team beyond the arc. It's a 2-point game.
Welcome back to the Well, where the Furman Paladins have tied this up. That last basket by Jalen Slauson, the dunk, the finish, and thus causing the timeout by Jay McCauley and the Wofford Terriers.
With Dean Keener, Pete Hannity with you on our Ingles SoCon Game of the Week. Just one full week to go in the SoCon, beginning with the action today. This is our first game. Wofford in a pack. Chattanooga and Mercer have a big one later on, but the Terriers trying desperately to finish in the top 6 and currently on the downside of tiebreakers with both Mercer and Chattanooga, as well as Western Carolina, and a good find that time off the deflection for Goodwin, and a big bucket for the Terriers. Donovan Thiem Love, he's seeing extended minutes in this game and adding some poise. Goodwin, strong move inside on Slauson, who had to be careful, though Chavez with that forearm thought we might hear a whistle. And another bucket in the second half for the senior from just outside of Columbia, South Carolina.
No, you're right. Whether he extended that forearm or not, give him credit. He's been real aggressive here in the last couple of minutes when they're needed it.
Bothwell, you see the strength the sophomore out of Cleveland Heights at 6'3", 187 can deliver. Tim Johnson had a fine career for the Wofford Terriers in the first decade of this century. In fact, he was on the 2009 and 10 team, Wofford's first Southern Conference champion, their first NCAA team, almost knocked off Wisconsin that year. Johnson, an effective force inside with the likes of Noah Dahlman and others. There he was, cutting down the nets in his senior season in 2010. Well, in the offseason, he was hired as an assistant at Furman. Yeah, it's a bit of rivalry, but there are a lot of connections between these two programs. We'll delve into that further in just a moment. Hoover and the Terriers trying to build in a 2-point lead. Murphy off the fake, and he does that so well.
Wow, he absolutely well. I mean, just the shot fake, got Gurley by him, and then was able to get off over Hunter. Nice answer right there out of the timeout by Wofford.
Bothwell from the left wing. He's heating up. Trying to upset UNCG, and really the key matchup of the day at 4:30 on the banks of the Tennessee River in Chattanooga, where the Mocs take on Mercer, two teams at 8 and 7 in the league, and a big battle for seeding in the Southern Conference tournament. To finish up the point on these bitter rivals, Jay McCauley, the first-year Wofford head coach, promoted after assisting Mike Young the past few years. He's in his second stint at Wofford. In between, he was an assistant at Furman, so another crossover. And one of his assistants on his staff this year, Dwight Perry, came to Wofford this season after serving at Furman.
These campuses just separated by what, some 30 miles.
Gurley was on his way up, so a couple of free throws as he's fouled.
Now, Jay McCauley has done a fantastic job. I think there certainly wasn't angst by Richard Johnson, the athletic director at Wofford, but you know, people thinking, wow, we lost Mike Young 17 years and what he'd done, and coming off that 30-win season. Oh, by the way, we're losing two generational players in Fletcher McGee and Cam Jackson. But boy, until just his last couple of games, it's been really, really a smooth transition. Jay McCauley's done a fantastic job.
He's got 6 in the game. Pugh, Jalen Pugh, who really has been used only in matchups this year.
Yep.
Hadn't played the past couple of games, but a big strike for the sophomore from just outside of Atlanta, and we're tied at 54.
Cartersville Kane, former classmate of Trevor Lawrence.
And good friends from what I understand.
Absolutely, that's a huge shot for him.
Hollowell, a heat check for the answer. Trey Hollowell, a big three, and a timeout is called. I believe Jay McCauley using his third of the game. He wants to reset his defense.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think he's happy with what they're doing offensively. But the defensive side of things, as you see the replay, just a little penetration by Murphy, just enough to shrink the defense, and then Murphy makes the right pass to Hollowell.
Trough has been empty from beyond the arc for these teams in the second half, so we've noticed them trying to attack the basket. And when you got Gurley to do it, why not?
Boy, a nice back cut by Gurley. He was overplayed. You're exactly right. The well a little dry here from behind the arc. Both teams combined just 11 of 48.
I used trough. I was saving that other part for
Thank you, sir.
Hollowell tries another answer. Stump the rebound with two Paladins on either side. Not going to go for Hoover. And Hunter comes down with it. Furman a chance to give us another lead change on this trip. We've had 3 so far. Gurley taking things over. 22 points for the redshirt sophomore, and Furman back in front by 1 with under 4 to go. And Forbes is just 1 ahead of one Fred Schaus, the former West Virginia coach from back in the 50s, whose son Jim is in his first year as a Southern Conference commissioner. So things coming full circle in terms of wins. And the SoCon, Slauson, able to knock it away in a tie game, and he throws it down. Lyons, halfway down, it comes out.
Boy, that was 3/4 down. Boy, everything right. Rotation, feet set.
Goodwin got his 11th rebound. He has a double-double to go with 15 points. Murphy on the other end. And the Terriers move back in front.
Without Ryan Larson, you've got to force somebody else to transport the basketball.
And so it'll stay 11 on the shot clock. Inbounded now. Bothwell defended by Thiem Love. Double team comes from Stump, who then loses him, and Bothwell puts Furman ahead 67-66. Will the Terriers play, or will they call a timeout? I think Jay McCauley says play it out. 5 to go. Murphy. Hoover, 1 second. It'll count if it goes. No good. And Furman survives. And the Wofford Terriers, a heartbreaking 5th straight loss. Here in downtown Greenville, the Paladins able to end a 3-game skid in the series.
Wow, what a basketball game. What an environment. Southern Conference basketball at its best. You hate that somebody had to lose that. Yeah, I mean, both teams wasn't always pretty, particularly from behind the arc. But the will to win by both teams was where you want it to be as a coach in late February. You're happy for Furman. Boy, a tough one for the Wofford Terriers. Now 5 losses in a row.
Richard Johnson, the athletic director, used to be the basketball coach at Wofford. He won a game in here against Davidson in the SoCon tourney one year. When his team got the ball back with 9 seconds played through, he said his philosophy was always just be ready to do something. Don't call a timeout, let the other team prepare. Jay McCauley had that same philosophy. Nathan Hoover gave his team a very good chance to win it with that shot, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, you're exactly right. When you've got a guy like Storm Murphy and the way he'd been playing, he can direct the team. I thought it was brilliant by Jay McCauley. Just unfortunately, that last 3 by arguably your best 3-point shooter, you want the ball in Murphy's hands, passing it to Hoover, just didn't go down.
Wofford lost on the road in the Greensboro Coliseum on Wednesday in overtime. Here in the Well in downtown Greenville, a building smaller than that one, but still a big arena. Another heartbreaking defeat for the Terriers, a resounding win for the Furman Paladins. Their 23rd on the year. They're pushing close to their program record for victories and could match it before the regular season is done. Paladins improved to 23-6 and 13-3 in the SoCon. Wofford dropping to 16-13 and now 8-8 in the league. Again, later today on the CW in the upstate of South Carolina and western North Carolina, PC and UNC Asheville in the Big South. Thursday night, join us on the CW for Winthrop and USC Upstate. That's at 6 p.m. And next Saturday, our Ingalls SoCon game of the week. We'll see that men's team, the Furman Paladins, taking on the Citadel 4:30. Heck of a ball game today, Dean.
Yeah, it was. 8 turnovers by Wofford in the second half really hurt them. They competed on the boards, just didn't knock down the last shot. And you figure in a rivalry game like this, that's what it comes down to, the last possession.
Thanks to our fine crew here in the Well, as the Furman Paladins outlast Wofford 67-66. And also thanks to our sponsor Ingalls each and every week, delivering you SoCon basketball. For Dean Keener, Pete Yannity saying so long from downtown